Robin Ayoub from the Localization Fireside Chat. And welcome to another conversation. Welcome to another episode. I think this one would be 192 episode on this channel. And today I have a very genuinely fascinating guest. Rick Elmore is a former NFL athlete who turned inventor, entrepreneur. I don't know how that works. We go from an athlete to an inventor and entrepreneur. We'll get to know that. He's the founder and CEO of Simply Noted, the world's leading handwritten mail automation. When I first read that, I said, wow, you still do that? But apparently they found a way to automate it. And I can't wait to discover this platform with Rick and talk a little bit more about this one. We are talking here about real pen, real ink, real paper, delivered at scale through proprietary robotics and 9 patents, filed for 9 patents. No outside funding, no engineering background, just grit, as I understand from the research, and very sharp sales instinct. Rick, welcome to the show. Welcome to the conversation. Good to have you.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, Robin. Looking forward to this.
I really appreciate it. As we say on this channel, Rick, everybody's got a story. What's your story?
Well, that's kind of hard to share in a short 30 minutes. But yeah, very interesting background. I grew up playing sports. I had my childhood trauma at a very young age. My father passed away at 7. My mom did a phenomenal job. I'm a family of all boys. I had 2 brothers, family of 3 boys. And my mom just got us really busy and kept us busy and got us into sports. And it was probably the best thing that she ever did. I played all the sports growing up. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'5", I was a tall guy. But I found an early attraction to football, and I always joke that I love football because I can hit people and not get in trouble. You can go and be physical. But yeah, I started playing football when I was 9 years old. I wasn't very good. I came from playing soccer, so I went from a non-contact sport to a contact sport. And my coach was always like, "You're such a big guy, you should be better." They were patient with me and stuck with me. But it wasn't until I was about a freshman in high school, so it took me about a couple years. But when I was a freshman in high school, I set the California state record for sacks. I had 26 or 27 sacks, which a quarterback sack is you go tackle them when they're trying to throw the ball. And my coach shook me. He's like, "Rick, you have something here. You have a talent. You should pay attention to this." So it was probably around 14, 15 years old where I really started taking it serious. I had a really good high school career. Got probably 30 plus Division I scholarship opportunities. It was going to be my only opportunity to go to college. It was the vehicle. I was the first person in my family to go to college. And I ended up going to the University of Arizona with my twin brother. So it was really important for me to go somewhere with my twin brother. And had a good college career as well. Led the Pac-10, which is no longer around, in quarterback sacks my junior and senior year, and then was a late round draft pick into the NFL. I wasn't a physically gifted guy outside of my height. These guys who play professional sports, they're like aliens. They're not of this world. Their bodies are genetically freakish, and I wasn't like that. I was just an effort guy, try hard guy. I remember my first year in the NFL, I had a relationship with somebody who worked in the business side of the office for the Cleveland Browns. I probably shouldn't say his name because I don't want to get him in trouble, but he showed me my draft profile. The coach's notes were overachiever, plays above his constantly plays above his potential, wins with effort. And I was just back then I took it personal. But now being 38, I was hey, I'd rather be known for being a guy who tries hard and wins because of effort than just hoping to win because of talent, because I do truly believe hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, and a lot of people don't work hard. So I'm happy to kind of die on that sword. But yeah, football was who I was for a long time, but every athlete, it comes to an end. And that's when I had my identity crisis. My entire life, I was Rick Elmore, the athlete, the guy who played football. And then when I was 25, that stopped. One day I just woke up. I was it's over. What do I do now? And I used to just go to the gym and train and recover and take care of my body. And now it's I can't make money with that anymore. I have to go use my brain and do business stuff. So I got into the corporate medical device world. I just saw what other athletes did when they transitioned. They just got into sales. And I jumped over to Stryker, which was an orthopedic, medical sales job, and had a lot of success there. And I think this is what most athletes fail to do in their transition, is just really take those transferable skills that made them successful as an athlete. The competition, the working hard, perseverance, dealing with failure, the things they've been like working on for 15 years already. They just like, for whatever reason, it doesn't click, but it just always clicked with me. I just took what made me successful and took it into business, and had a successful career. I was like rookie of the year my first year, again, because of effort. I just worked really hard. And then I was either a top 1% or top 5 sales rep in the company. Again, I just worked really hard. And I know a lot of people are probably rolling their eyes hearing this, because like, who wants to like just
Where they know
outwork
you or
everybody?
something?
Well, it's just like, who just wants to be known for outworking anybody, But that's what I
Yeah,
did.
I know it's a foreign concept nowadays, working hard for some people.
Well, it's just like, it's just, there's so much technology now to like, I can go down that talking path too. It's just like, all these social media gurus, they make it sound so simple, but what most people don't realize, like when you see these people online, they've been working for 10, 15, 20, 30 years to become that guru, right? So like they had a horrific growth decade that they don't tell you about, and they want to tell you, oh, it's easy, come pay for my $3,000 course and I will show you how easy it is. But they're just like, they're monetizing their knowledge. Like it's like an information arbitrage. But yeah, I was successful in business, but I wanted more. I didn't want to be like work the corporate ladder. I went back and did my MBA in 2017. This is where my life changed. Is this a video podcast or audio podcast?
Both of them. It would be both.
Okay. So I need to do this visually so it makes sense. So as an athlete, especially in like college and NFL, but in college when I got recruited and like first day, my coach always said, hey, school's number 1 and then football's number 2, right? And yeah, it's the opposite. So school was never a priority because it was just like I just did it because I had to do it to play football. But when I went back and did my MBA, it changed. I was done playing football. Education was something that was going to help me get better, but I was also interested in business. Like I wanted to learn everything about business. As a sales rep, they keep you in a box. They're like, hey, just go sell. Don't worry about anything else. And that always drove me nuts. I was like, if I knew better, if I knew how all this worked, it would make me better. So about a year into my program, and this was every Wednesday. I did a full-time MBA. It was every Wednesday for 7.5 hours. We were there from 3 p.m. until like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. I had a marketing professor say something that completely changed my life. And this is really important. This is why I love podcasts. You can listen to a 30-minute, 40-minute, an hour-long podcast, and there can be like 10 seconds that changes your life. And there was this one sentence that changed my life that like launched my entrepreneurial journey. He was going over all the success rates in marketing, email, direct mail, cold calling, all the normal stuff. All of it was like single-digit success rates, 8%, or low double-digit, 12%, 15%. And he says, hey guys, you know what works better now, if not better than ever, is a good old-fashioned handwritten note. They get open 99% of the time. They're rare. Nobody gets them anymore, and the mailboxes are empty. Because this is back in 2017. We're going, still going through like the internet rush, the software rush. Everybody was trying to compete digitally with ads, Meta, all this stuff. I was like, man, that makes so much sense. I grew up in the 90s before cell phones, as the internet was starting. I wrote handwritten notes to my friends. There's some nostalgia there. But I was like, there's no easy way to do it. There's just no easy way to do it. Like it takes so much time, right? And like, that's the perception behind it. Like if you received a handwritten note, somebody sat down and sent you that. They took the time to do it. But I was like, if there was a way to scale it, like, or a way to automate it for businesses, I'm sure there is like a business opportunity there. So just started Googling. I had my computer in class. And I saw a company like doing handwritten notes for weddings. And I was like, that is such a horrible business model. Like one-time customers, hopefully, right? Bridezillas, right? That are hyper controlling. Everything has to be perfect. It's hurry up and wait, right? And then like lists are always changing. I was like, why isn't anybody doing this for business? Like lead generation, marketing, client relationships. So I got a pen plotter. I literally Googled like drawing robot, writing robot, and I found a pen plotter out of China and got this machine from China. I had no idea what to do with it. I just started talking to my friends. I'm like, hey, do you know anybody who knows how to deal with robots? Do you know anybody who knows how to deal with software? And I got a couple of people that like helped me put together this writing robot from China. And they helped me with like software plugins. They helped me with like dealing with like Inkscape, these like weird things I've never heard of. And I got it to write like really bad handwritten notes. And it took about a month because there was no paper feed, so it had to be done manually. You'd put a piece of paper down, hit a button, and the machine would go and move and write. And I tested it like within like my medical sales job at the time. I pulled a list offline of like people I haven't worked with, and I sent them a handwritten note, and we sold big packages, like $30,000 to $60,000 packages. So I was like, if this even gets one, it's going to be a win. But I just got so many responses, and these doctors, when we sent it out, they would call me, and like they weren't like crying, but they were just so shocked. They're like, Rick, this is really cool. Like, no one sends us a handwritten note. The normal thing is to email them or go bother them at their front door. I was like, hey, like, they're like, hey, this is cool. Like, let's set up a lunch, or hey, let's go grab dinner, or let's go grab a drink, and let's talk about this. And my monthly quota at the time was $50,000 a month. I ended up selling just under $300,000 in 6 weeks. And like my whole entire company was going nuts. They're like, Rick, what are you doing? Like, you just hit half your quota in 1 month. Like, how are you doing this? And that was like right when I had like that entrepreneurial seizure. And anybody who started a business or who's like validated an idea, like they know what I'm talking about. Like you just get this like, adrenaline rush, endorphin rush, like your body is just like it's called the entrepreneurial seizure. And that was like the genesis. But fast forward 8 years, I had no idea what I was doing or what I was, I bit off way more than I can chew. I didn't know I was going to have to start this like software engineering, industrial automation business. I got a buddy from California to come out and like help me get started. I was like, yeah, 1 year we'll be $1 million business. Like, I guarantee it. And it took us like 5 years or 4 or 5 years to get to $1 million. But yeah, I mean, it's been wild. We now are the largest provider of this service, at least in the United States, I'm aware of. 225 custom built handwriting robots. They're all completely automated. We use like computer vision to run the robots, like all scanners for tracking and automation, printing automation, mailing automation, robotic automation. Yeah. And again, I have no technical background, and I didn't do this. Like, I call myself I feel like I have like a PhD in problem solving. Like, I just know how to like solve a problem. And I think that's like an entrepreneur, like that's ultimately what you are. But I just ended up finding people to help me solve my problems. And if you just continue doing that day after day after day after day, fast forward 7.5, 8 years, like you're going to look back and like, oh my God, look how far we've come.
Handwritten notes. I mean, you're right. It's a classic. You're right. It is not done anymore. Most people are still competing for that digital short span of attention. People see something on digital media, they basically retain it for less than half a second and they move on to something else. But when they see something physical, they receive something physical in their hands, in the mail, etc. They tend to stick with them, and it sort of rises to the top in terms of, let's say I'm dealing with 20 people and somebody sends me something physical, handwritten note or whatever the case may be. That person is not equal to everybody else in my attention span right now. So he ranks higher on my attention span. If it was an inbox, it would be at the top of my inbox, basically.
Yep. I think what you just said is another key concept. It's how are you being different? And when you receive something, especially in the mailbox, like think of that mailbox experience, right? You go through the mailbox, it's usually bills, junk, right? And then when you see something written in pen, you put it to the side. Yeah, flyers, right? But when you see that handwritten envelope, it gets your attention, right? And then there's curiosity, right? So now you're getting brain space that you normally don't get with your normal touch points in business, right? It doesn't matter if it's building a relationship and saying thank you to a customer, a thank you card versus a thank you email. What do you think is going to win? Asking for a meeting on paper versus asking for a meeting in your inbox with your email that has 200 plus emails a day. Who do you think is going to win? And the hard thing with like this industry that there's been no way to like really track it. And that's like the problem that we've solved is like we track notes or handwritten notes with like a real forever stamp to the mailbox. So now you can track it just like you track an email. We also do trackable QR codes. Like within an email, if someone clicks, like this has been around forever, you can track that click. For us, we have trackable QR codes. So if someone scans that QR code, we can track when they scanned it and who scanned it and set up automations based off that scan. So I like to tell people like when they're trying to think about how to like understand our business, like you think of constant contact or email marketing, like where it's trackable to the inbox, trackable to the click, and then you can set up like flows based off their actions. It's the same thing for us, but we're making it a tangible physical product.
Yeah.
So it's just a different tool. I've been running a business for 8 years. We use our product to sell, but we still do everything else. We still do email. We still do ads. We still do like social. We do podcasting. We do PR. It's just like another tool that you should have in your tool belt. And there's gold sitting under your nose that every business like ignores is like you have a client list. How are you nurturing that client list? Are you just putting them on your newsletter blast and hoping to God that they sit there and read it? Or are you doing something different to keep those past clients, current clients engaged. For like larger ticket items, like home service, nonprofit, political, fundraising, that type of stuff, where like, average tickets are $5,000, $10,000. It's a great like direct mail tool. But every business has customers, and I feel like every business should be, having like a CX, client experience, relationship building budget. In most businesses, a lot of our business comes in the holidays, like holiday cards, or New Year's, right? It's just like a no-brainer touch point. The success of like the New Year campaigns to keep those clients engaged for the upcoming year, I've seen a lot of success, but also at the end of the year, hey, thanks for the great year. We're so fortunate to work with you, because if you don't have your clients, you don't have a business. If your clients don't pay their invoices, you can't pay your bills, right? So it's like you got to treat those clients like gold, but like, how are you doing it? And most businesses, like they don't know.
Yeah, and most businesses probably, and when you are working, depends on the business, right? Small young entrepreneurs such as yourself still value that relationship with the customer. Now, large companies, I'm talking about multi-billion-dollar companies that probably think of customers in a spreadsheet form. You know what I mean by that? So the customers are ranked by the number of dollars that they spend with this particular company, and their 80-20 rules, right? So the 80% of the revenue come from the top 20 customers, and the rest of the smaller customers, they're basically the tail end of that spreadsheet. And then you can deduct from that the attention that you would give to customers. Obviously, you're going to spend your attention at the top 20 revenue generating customers and less attention at the bottom 80%, which I completely disagree. I've been screaming from the top of my lungs all my career. I completely disagree with that theory at all. I think all your customers are very important. It doesn't matter if they spent $1 or $1 million. I know people that are going to listen to this conversation are going to say, Robin, you're crazy. I'm not crazy. Here's why. Because your customers are advocates for you. If $1 customer spends $1 for you, and they happen to come across somebody and they speak negatively about you as a company because they got a bad service from you, guess what's going to happen? You're not getting the next $1 million opportunity. I can guarantee you that.
Yep. And like you just said, most businesses, like, I mean, I think about it too. Like, I know who our best customers are, so I'm always like hyper focused on them, right? I need to make sure that they're happy and they stay on board. But like, how can you engage every client and give them like that one-to-one approach that they deserve? Because every customer does matter. Somebody who spends $10 with your company, they can refer a $100,000 contract or $100,000 business. So what are you doing to make sure that every one of your customers feels appreciated?
True.
Like, seriously, it's like a loaded question. Most businesses are like, I don't know. We give them discounts on their next purchase. Like, oh, thanks.
True.
And most businesses just don't have that answer.
And a lot of times I've seen it before, like many businesses are using many gimmicks, many tricks. I've seen people sending gifts to customers where, with a specific URL, like when you receive the gift, it's a physical gift. When you receive the gift, there's a specific URL. You have to go in and claim something bigger, and then the tracking and the engagement begins from there. But a handwritten note, I mean, you're the good testimony for this. You've written 500, as you mentioned earlier, 500 written notes, and you got a close to $280,000, $300,000 sales a month from that. That's a sort of like an aha moment in the entire genesis of the idea that you came up with. From there, like, could you at least for those who don't know how this whole thing works? So what is this? Is it a service or is it a product that you're selling? Is it a franchise? Is it white labeling? What is it?
Yeah, we do have service right now. We do have some plans sometime in the future. I don't know when, but since we like manufacture and build and have like patented technology, we've thought about like just selling the robot so people can like do that for themselves. But to do this at scale, like you need a lot of equipment. You need a printer, you need a mailing inserter, you need stamp affixers if you want it to look authentic, right, and scalable. But right now it's just a service. People come to our website, they can send one or thousands. Most people, mail is tricky because there's a lot that goes in the mail. You got to have like a list, right? But starting at your list, you got to make sure it's a good list. Like, where am I going to get my list? Like, well, we always say you have a list. It's your client base. Like, oh, well, I only have emails. Like, well, we can get you their home addresses based off their emails. There's a way to do that. Then we got to verify addresses, right? So, there's a lot that goes into it, from mailing lists to card design to copy to tracking. But like, that's when we come in and help you build out that campaign. But most people, they come to us with like a CSV file or an Excel sheet and just say, hey, I want to send out a couple thousand pieces to our client base. And we help them do that. If you want to get more like technical, we help you integrate with like an API integration or a webhook or like an integration into your software to automate it. So like when someone pays an invoice, you send a thank you card. If someone hasn't made a purchase in 6 months, you follow up with them and offer them a discount. If someone leaves a bad review, you can reach out to them and apologize and try to get it removed. So there's a bunch of different use cases, but we try to help people either scale it through like a spreadsheet. We also have like list building tools natively built onto our website. So if like you don't have addresses, like you can build a list on our website based off of like certain demographics. But there's a lot that goes into it. But I mean, mail, if it's executed correctly, it's a phenomenal revenue channel, marketing channel that, I mean, most businesses don't get involved in, which creates a bigger opportunity for you. Like it does. Like if your competitors aren't doing it, it's a way for you to stand out within your business and with like opportunities and new clients or your past clients. But yeah, right now we're just a service and we help people scale it or integrate it and somehow automate it through whatever software that they use. We want to be a platform that makes it easy to use from wherever you want to use it. So I can get into the technical stuff. I know most people aren't like Zapier and N8N and Make and workflows and automation and webhooks and stuff. But I mean, that's really what we are, like scale it or automate it through some type of automation.
So you can integrate with our automation platforms and make it a step of the process. Is that what I'm hearing?
Anything.
So let's say customers' workflow process says, I'm going to do 90% of my steps in a digital format, but one of those steps, I'm going to kick it out to a physical note to be sent to somebody that can be integrated into and you probably built APIs and all that integration tools.
Exactly. So if you think of like your customer journey, like we have like anytime we have like a new like opportunity or lead, we have like, seriously, it's like a 32-step opportunity. I mean, we're updating our CRM, we're notifying sales reps, we're creating tasks, we're doing follow-ups. Like we send them a handwritten note, we send them a demo, and then like 10 days later, we're sending them a follow-up handwritten note, but that's all automated, right? So they're getting all these touches and it's a part of that sequence. And it either helps with closing, it helps with retention, it helps with referrals by adding that physical, genuine, personalized handwritten note touch point.
And for the audience, if you want to find out more about the service that Rick is talking about and we're discussing this afternoon, you can head over to simplynoted.com. That's www.simplynoted.com as I'm pronouncing it. There's no tricks to how you spell that. It's exactly that, simplynoted.com. And you can find out a little bit more about that one. I have a question, Rick, regarding your services. Who buys these services? Business to business, business to consumer, marketing companies? Who are the audience for you?
Yeah, I always say service-based businesses or relational types of businesses. So like real estate, financial, dental. Those are like our like easy no-brainers, but like our bigger clients are usually like B2B SaaS businesses, nonprofit, political, people who have been like operating in this game for a long time. They understand direct mail. But I always say, like, if you have a relationship driven business, which most businesses are, because customers have choices and there's always a different option for your service, there's a use case for this. It's just understanding what your use case is. Am I going to use it for building relationship, like client retention, getting referrals, or am I going to use it for direct mail and growing my business? So if like you're, a real estate agent, it may make sense for you to play on both sides because, I want to retain my clients. They call it your sphere of influence, or I want to use it for like mining off market opportunities. And they'll just go do like, hey, we just sold a house in your neighborhood. Let us know if you're interested. Right. Because those commissions on like homes are in the tens of thousands of dollars. So if they get one new opportunity, I mean, the ROI and the mailing is insane. So you just really got to understand like your business and what's the best use case. I would say if your commission or your average selling price is under $5,000, it's a great relationship building tool. But if you're in a business where like the lifetime value of your client or like the sale, price is over $5,000, like within 12 months, like it's a great direct mail tool because the open rate's so high. And it's like a great trackable marketing tool. So like you can track engagement, you can track deliverability, you can set it up within a workflow, set up these automations. When somebody, a handwritten note gets delivered, it gets notified in your system. You can set up a notification to a sales rep like, hey, John Smith's handwritten note was just delivered today, give him a call. Like you can set up that notification. Or, hey, John Smith just scanned the QR code, sales rep gets notified, you pick up the phone and you call him. Speed to lead matters. So I just think it's a really powerful marketing tool, but also a phenomenal relationship building tool.
And are you partnering like with because some of those relationships that you're describing are not one-to-one relationships. Probably they are coming through another agency, for instance, a marketing agency, right? So let's say I'm a dental office, as you mentioned earlier, or a real estate agent. I probably have some sort of a local marketing agency I'm dealing with. Could they go through the marketing agency or the third party to you, or do they have to go through you directly, or do you do any of this stuff?
They can, yeah. Yeah, we have resellers. So we have like marketing agencies who like reseller service and like do like affiliate like programs. But
you primarily
we mostly
direct,
like
right?
work like directly with the user. Yeah, primarily. It's just, we work with like the full spectrum, so like the resellers are usually like large business, like large resellers, like $50 million a year businesses who are reselling down to their clients. Those have been like our most successful reseller partnerships. The 3-person agency who wants to resell our service usually isn't a good like partnership because they're just like trying to survive every single month. It's the businesses who have like proven product market fit, proven client base. They're trying to add now an additional resource or an additional product to their portfolio to add more value to their clients and drive more revenue. Those are like the types of partnerships that like are like great for us. Have systems, have people who like take ownership over that type of channel. But yeah, it's usually like just direct. We'll talk directly to the user, the owner, the buyer, and then help them set it up. It's a lot simpler than you think it is. It's just like, hey, these are the 2 use cases, help us set it up, and then it just runs.
So in the physical mail world, so I'm assuming you're only operating in the US, right? So you don't operate outside the US. And how do you handle the postage part?
We do.
Oh, you do operate outside of the US?
So when we work with Canada or like the UK, but they want like handwritten mail, we'll do it. We just drop ship it to them so it has a local postmark. That's the hard thing. It's like shipping from like US to Canada, you're going to have a US postmark on it. But like if we're working with businesses, like they're used to doing like big mail drops. So it's like we work with their mail house. We just set it up like, hey, who's your local mail house, or do you just want us to ship it to you? Like if you want us to ship it to you, they just take it straight to their post office. If it's their mail house, like we just call them like, hey, like what do you need? We still fulfill our service. We just do it within the requirements of your guys's, local post office, and then we just drop ship it straight to them. So we get really creative. I mean, for larger projects, that's easier. For the one-offs, that use case won't work because you're triggering one card every 3 days. Like we can't track that and drop ship that. But it's like, hey, we want to drop like 2,500 pieces. Not a problem. Yeah.
How do you handle inserts for those mail pieces?
I mean, as long as it fits in the envelope, it's not a problem.
So does the customer provide it to you or you make it?
We just did a job for a, I don't even know what kind of business it was, but we put a white glove. We folded a white glove and put it inside the envelope because like their pitch was like, hey, white glove service. So, I mean, we can source it. They can drop ship it to us. We have a full print house on it. If flyers need to be added, business cards need to be added, and we have a full print house here. So part of the onboarding, we'll kind of figure out like what the best way to handle that is logistically. But I mean, as long as it fits in the envelope and it's under the weight requirement, we can add it. It just can't be like too puffy because all these mail pieces go through mail sorting machines. So if like it gets too puffy, the envelope may get destroyed or it won't be able to get sorted in these machines.
No, maybe I should have asked this question earlier. When it comes to handwriting, every individual writes differently. Do you try to map the handwriting of the individual, or do you have like a standard font? That's what I use.
This is like a powerful part of it. We can actually use your handwriting. So we can convert your handwriting and actually like send them in your handwriting. But we have like 900 handwriting styles. We have like 35 publicly available on the website, but it's just an added cost. If we work with like people of influence, like politicians, presidents, CEOs who really want their handwriting in case it ends up online, we can convert yours. And that's a fun project. And it's always cool to see like our users like, no way, like that looks like I wrote it. So it's always fun. It's like 9 times out of 10, it's just like, they're just
What's
like
the technology behind it to try to scan, redraw, and get the technology to capture the style? Is this like proprietary stuff, or is there a process for it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of our patents, but we use a basic OCR, optical, like OSCR. It's like optical scanning like character recognition. So like we have you write it down, and then we have to like import it into like a font designing software. But like how the machines write is an algorithm. We don't do like randomization of glyphed characters. The robots actually write like humanized. So like when the robots write, they actually know what they're writing. So like how the pen drags at the end of like with like the E. So like that E will look different than versus like an E inside the word like Nebraska or something. So like it's actually like a trained handwriting style versus like a font conversion, if that makes sense. So I mean, we've had to over engineer everything about this business. That's been like one of the most challenging things about scaling this business is like once we solve a problem, it just opens a new door to a new challenge. And it's just like, when are we going to stop focusing on like solving problems and just scaling this business? It's just like, it's wild. We're in a 12,000 square foot facility, with hundreds of handwriting robots, like new projects come in, like how are we going to solve this? How are we going to scale this? It's been fun, but challenging, but a lot of personal growth, a lot of professional growth has gone through this.
So the audience of this channel, Rick, are translation and language professionals and global in nature. So where does the language factor fits into your model? Like, do you do anything other than English, for instance? That's a basic question.
Oh yeah, every language. Yeah, every language. Yeah. I think we've done Spanish, we've done French, we've done German. I mean, 99% of ours is in English. Most of our business is from North America. We do stuff in UK. We've done some stuff in Australia. I mean, I don't know. We've been doing this for 8 years. I'm sure we've done we have four sales reps. I've kind of like been out of sales for a few years. I know we ship global. Our drop ship is wild every single day. I mean, I just see the drop ship packages, by the door for the post office to pick up. So yeah, I mean, if there's a project in mind, like we can help support it. If it's global, it's usually like bigger projects, 200 pieces or more, 300 pieces or more, because we'll just drop ship it to you. For the one-offs, we try to stay within like the United States, just because like we could just use a forever stamp and just send it and we don't have to worry about it. So we just try to like be like a consultant, like, hey, how do you want to connect with your audience more personally? You want to use it for thank you cards, reminders, marketing, and then we help you build out your handwritten mail campaign.
Now, when we started the conversation, you mentioned that you've been on so many podcasts earlier. Let's talk a little bit about this one. How many podcasts you've been on for the audience? And why podcasting?
Sure. So been on well over 300 podcasts, since I started the business. I think it was a book there's a book called Content Based Networking, and it was basically like written off of the Oprah Winfrey, like what's made her so successful. She has like an audience, she has a platform, and she brings people on and she shares their story. And that's like what helped like blow her up, I guess, in like the early 2000s. I mean, she's had a phenomenal career. But when you're getting with other people and you're networking and you're creating content, not only are you learning something or sharing something, but you're also leveraging each other's audiences to grow. I mean, if you read the book, that's what it's about. But it's been a great resource for our business. There's a lot of SEO and AGO or AEO benefits from it. So like when you share this and it mentions Simply Noted Rick Elmore, now that's being added to Google, that's being added to these AI LLMs, and you're staying like current, versus like the traditional SEO, which is like blogging and backlinking. Now you're just adding another element to it. Social proof, right? It's great to get out there, and like when people look you up and they see you on podcasts, it helps build up your social proof. So there's a lot of benefits to it, but also you meet great people. For example, when I went back and did my MBA, like you never know when you're listening to somebody, like where 1 or 2 sentences or 1 or 2 minutes may change your life. And you can learn from other people's mistakes. They've been where you are, other people who've been in business for 30 years, like you can learn from them. That's a sign of like being smart or like genius, like not having to fail before you learn, actually being able to learn from other people's mistakes. Like that's a sign of being like smart. So it's really hard. It's really hard to go out there and do it on your own. And there's tools like this, like podcasts, that help you get out there and learn and accelerate, your progress if you leverage them correctly. So it's up to you. Not everybody, you can lead a horse to water. You can't make it drink, right? And not everybody's going to leverage that or be able to pull what they need out of it. But the resources is there. It's up to us individually to make sure that we get what we need out of it. You can have a podcast on and not really be paying attention, right?
Absolutely.
So it's like, it's really up to the user or the consumer to get the most out of it. But also it's up to us individually to put ourselves out there to create opportunity. And that's like what podcasting is.
What did it do to the pipeline that perhaps ads or paid ads didn't do or can't do?
So, back to what I was saying earlier, it's like another tool in the tool belt. So like handwritten mail is a tool.
So you still do ads as well, Rick?
I do everything. Yeah. Because like when one's not doing well, hopefully something else picks up for the slack. And that's just what I've seen over the last 5 years of really like doing a full court press and all this. Like it all evens out over time. Like when ads aren't doing well, like cold email will do good. When cold email and ads aren't doing good, like we have cold calling, then we have social, like outbound, and we have retargeting and meta and podcasting and SEO and organic inbound. So it's like, you got to basically play in every field and have a strategy in every field in order to scale business. And I think of like scale, like I want to get to tens of millions of dollars in revenue. And how do you do that? Like you got to be able to have your axe sharpened in every place. And that axe, every single day you're swinging it, it's going to get dull, right? And you got to figure out a way to keep sharpening it. What got you to $1 million won't get you to $3 million. And what got you to $3 million won't get you to $10 million. So it's like a constant learning journey. And that's why you should be listening to podcasts and reading books and doing this research, because again, what got you here won't get you there. Yeah. I'm telling you, I'm living through it right now. I'm trying to like get to the next level. We've kind of been stuck the last couple of years. I'm hiring consultants, I'm listening to podcasts, I'm reading new books. I literally had a consultant in here yesterday, like trying to help us improve our funnel and like conversion rates. Like we have tons of leads, but like our conversion percentage has not increased over the last 2 years. I'm like, if we don't need more leads, we need to either target better and get the same amount of leads, or we need to take these leads and convert them better. Right. So it's like, it's a new recipe that has to be figured out. But like, I feel like that's why I've been successful. I obsess, and this goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of this, is like, I work really hard and I will figure out the problem, but I have to be aware of the problem and find the right people, the right tools, or the right systems to help me solve that problem. So that's why entrepreneurship's awesome. Like it's interesting, it's new, it's challenging every single day. Like year one, doesn't matter if it's year 1 or year 20. It's like, it's a new challenge. It keeps you like on the edge of your seat.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we talk a lot about this on this channel, and I do actually have a networking event on Fridays, tomorrow at 9:00 every Friday, and we talk a lot about AI. And the networking event is called AI Exchange. A bunch of entrepreneurs, they get together and we talk about how AI is impacting their world and talk about some use cases, etc. Where does AI fit in what you're building? And it's sort of an irony, isn't it? Here we're talking about high-tech robots producing low-tech emotional experience. How do you think about that tension, if you will?
So I actually consult on AI. So I'm 100% sold on AI. I think if you pay attention to like just where the world is going, like you pay attention to, and I hate talking about influencers, like you pay attention to like these major businesses, NVIDIA, OpenAI,
Yep.
Alex Hormozy, like these guys who are out there like leading the charge on like scaling businesses. You have to have an AI strategy. If you don't have an AI strategy, it's like, for an example, like, there's some law firms out there that still fax like documents, right?
Oh, yeah.
Those companies still exist, right? So like that will be around because like 20 years ago, that's how they did it. They just didn't want to evolve. But these law offices who evolved onto all these digital different forms of marketing are crushing those law firms that are still faxing because they just didn't want to evolve. It's the same thing. There's going to be companies that never evolve and add AI, right? Because it's too new, it's uncomfortable, they don't want to change. Those companies will still they'll still exist, but the companies that evolve and use AI are going to absolutely crush the companies that don't use it. Right. So it's like, think about it, like Google ads, like in the early 90s, like their ad clicks were like pennies. Right. And the people who were early adopters, like just reaped all the benefits. And there's people that still don't do ads because it's too frustrating. They don't know how to do it. Right. And the companies who just evolve with the times, learn how to use it, learn how to implement it. Like we have an AI SDR, sales development rep agent. that literally lives on a local MacBook Pro that we have in our office, and we have 3 SDR agents. An SDR, is usually like $55,000 to $75,000 a year. I have 3 of them that run for $9 a month in electricity, and all they do is follow up with leads and book appointments for my account executives. I'm saving myself $180,000 a year or more, and for $100 a year, I'm doing it for an SDR agent, right? And we're leveraging local LLMs, so we're not having to use Anthropic or OpenAI. We're using open sourced email platforms that are free. It's just like people who evolve, you're going to leave everybody else behind. But it's like learning's hard as you get older. Like when you're not 5 where your brain's just like absorbing everything. But like change scares people. But it's really important that you like lean on people who are doing these things to help you do it. Like you don't have to do it on your own. You just have to be open to implementing it. But yeah, AI's, and I don't want to say like we're not at AGI, so like, general intelligence where it's like thinking on its own. But, I think AI kind of had like an iPhone moment a few months ago with the release of OpenClaw. NVIDIA just released NemoClaw, which is a more secure version of OpenClaw, which OpenClaw allows you to run AI agents locally on like a desktop, and it can take actions and run your entire computer versus what AI has been in the past, which was really prompt based. So like you ask it a question, it gives you an output. So there was an input for an output, but now it's like, hey, it's running a computer, has access to an entire system. It can use a browser, it can access files, and it can take actions without you having to prompt it. So you set it up, give it a brain, give it an engine, give it a memory, give it a soul. It's kind of wild. And then you just let it go do the work. But like this is the other thing. Like if you're not getting anything out of this podcast, please pay attention to AI. Like I promise you, like please pay attention to it. And find how it can affect, it can help your business. Find one thing in your business that you want AI to do and have somebody help you implement it. 100%. Doesn't matter if it's customer success. Now this is the year 2026 is the year of voice AI. So like you're going to have people can call your business and talk to a voice AI, and they're not going to know that they're talking to a voice AI if they talk long enough, but that's not the purpose of the voice AI. The voice AI is to handle the phone call and route it to the right person, not to sit there and talk for 20 minutes, right? So, like, please, everybody pay attention to it. Doesn't matter if it's managing your inbox, doing your ads, doing your marketing, doing your sales, like it's going to be in every part of your business. I promise you.
Absolutely. And for the audience, we do talk about OpenClaw and a few other things. Actually, in fact, we ran a training on OpenClaw and how to deploy it. That was 2 weeks ago now. And so we are going to, well, I guess right now in my company, Nine Networks, that's a different company that I founded in 2025 toward the end of the year in November. We are specialized in OpenClaw automation. So we have a few customers that we're currently working with. If anybody's interested in finding out more, want to learn more, just let me know. One of my, I guess, a closing question for you, Rick, if you don't mind, what's next for Simply Noted?
My goal right now in 2026 is to get as much AI into our business as possible. It's the most efficient way to scale this business. Someday I'd like to sell Simply Noted. I feel like I've taken this so much further. This is going to need like a big $100 million company to take it to the next level. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, this has been like my entrepreneurship work baby. I have a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this. A lot has gone into it, but I think we really want to focus on making the easiest tool to use for this type of product. And we're trying to niche down, being a self-funded business, like we've had to work with everybody. I think we need to niche down to continue to scale up, solve, 5 problems for a very specific group of people instead of like solving a problem for everybody. That's not scalable. So yeah, we still have a lot of work to do. Mm-hmm. But my main focus right now is like getting as much AI in here as possible. I actually have one of my software engineers. He's in California, but we fly him out every once in a while. He's like in our office right now helping us get all this stuff. So yeah.
I'd love to invite you to the networking event if you're interested. We
actually run the largest OpenClaw group in Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, you do?
And we host an event. Yeah, I do. So it's called OpenClaw Phoenix. Yeah, and we host what we call Build a Claw, where we have people come in and we
maybe I can get an invite or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll send you the info, but we have people come on to our warehouse. We show them like all our automation stuff, and then we help them like get their agent just launched, And then I have my two software guys. If they want custom like built solutions, my two software guys will like build.
That's your next
agents.
venture, right? The next venture is to
I
start
don't know.
shooting there.
I don't know. I feel like this is what AI is. Did you ever see that movie Deep Impact in like the
Yes,
early
that's right. I've seen it.
late 90s? Okay, so you remember at the end of the movie when like the comet hits the ocean and that girl and her dad are just standing there on the beach? Remember that part?
Yeah, I remember
the wave.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, so the wave just comes and it just annihilates them.
Yep.
Like I feel like that's what AI is for 2026.
The wave is building up.
It's coming so fast, and it's not slowing down, and people are just gonna be consumed by it. So like you have to have a strategy to be ready for it.
Be ahead of the wave.
And it's just this massive AI wave. I mean, and it's not like a little lump of water. It is a massive wave that is evolving every day. And every single I can't even go on YouTube anymore because it's like new update, new launch, new AI technology. I'm like, oh my God. Like it's like every day.
Absolutely.
So, and how you get around that is you focus on one thing and you put on blinders, right? And don't get shiny object syndrome and just get really good on one thing. So you don't want to be a mile wide and an inch deep on something. You want to be an inch wide and a mile deep. Like that's how you get really good at something.
Correct.
So pick your lane, solve it. Yeah, pick your lane, implement it, and keep improving on it. And it will benefit.
I want to thank you for a lovely conversation, Rick. I really appreciate it. And thanks for indulging me in coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it. The audience will have fun with this conversation.
Cool. Yeah, it was great being here. Yeah, it was nice chatting. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. It's been a great conversation with Rick, and I want to thank the audience for listening into this conversation. If you're coming on YouTube, thanks for watching us. If you're coming on the podcast, on the audio channels, thanks for listening in, and I will see you at the next episode.